Okay, so let's move on to the section in the middle of the first page and talk about where the points for this course are going to come from. Before we go into specifics about which activities you're going to do and how many points you're going to earn for each one, let me just kind of be clear about the way I think of final grades and points accumulation in my classes. A lot of instructors have this idea that everybody kind of starts with an A, and then the things that you don't do over the course of the semester knock you down to a B and then a C. I think that's very nice. I think it's very kind-hearted, but that's not really the way I approach grades in my classes. As far as I'm concerned in class, everybody is kind of starting from the very bottom because there have been no assignments made, so there's been nothing for you to turn in. But every time we have an assignment, whether that's study questions or it's a quiz or it's an essay, you have an opportunity to earn points toward the final grade you want to receive in this class. So participation is very important, being in class, doing the reading. Everything in class is designed to kind of help you get better scores on your essays. So it's very important that you're participating in each thing and that you're getting the points that are available to you as we go along. So in talking about the specific breakdown of the points you can earn from this semester, I'm not going to go over every single thing in detail because it's here on the first page of your syllabus. Do be familiar with that so you'll kind of know what's coming, you'll know what to expect. But I will point out that the majority of the points that will determine your final grade at the end of the semester will come from the writing assignments that you do. And that's pretty appropriate since this is a composition class, it's about writing. So we're going to do 3 single source essays, and those essays are worth 100 points each. It says 130 on the syllabus because there'll also be some prep assignments, like you'll have to do an outline and a peer review for each essay, so I'm kind of clumping all those in together. So the first 3 essays are worth 130 points each. The research paper, you'll notice, is worth 190 points. It's worth a little bit more because it takes a little bit more work. And then you'll have a final exam that has a pretty significant chunk of writing on it. So most of what you do in class is going to come from these essays, but the various other things that you do, like the vocabulary quiz, the study questions for trifles and Othello, those things can actually ultimately sort of make or break you getting the grade that you want from the class. So if you're not coming to class, if you're not doing these kind of smaller assignments, the participation assignments, that can actually pull your grade down as much as 10%. So even if you have a B in your essays, not having the participation stuff might pull you down into a C. But the opposite is also true, so that if you're getting, pretty solid B and C scores on your essays, then this participation stuff at the end of the semester can pull you up sometimes into a little bit higher letter grade. So I try to do progress reports in the middle of the semester, but you can also keep track of your own grades as we go along by adding up the number of points that are available from all the assignments that have been made. And then once I grade things and return them, you can add up the number of points you've earned on each of those assignments. And if you'll divide the number of points that you've earned by the number of points that are possible, you can figure out your own average at any point in the semester. Just keep in mind that the writing assignments are really going to have the biggest impact at the end of the semester. So let's talk a little bit about the kind of work that goes into writing one of these essays. You'll notice that on one of the later pages in your syllabus, there's actually a copy of the rubric that I use when I grade these papers. So if you're interested in seeing what's most important to me, you can take a look at that rubric. We will go over it together in class before you write your first essay, so we'll get a little bit more detail on it, but if you want to look ahead, it's already here in your syllabus. So the way I think of essay writing, and writing in general actually, is that writing is sort of a process that begins when you start getting ideas for the thing that you're going to write about. And it's not even finished until you've gone through a couple of drafts of the paper and you've had a chance to polish it up. So because that's the process that I've used when I do writing myself, because it's the process that I've seen work really well for other people, that's the process that I built into my class. So for each of the essays that you write, we're going to start with the class discussion. So you'll read a play like Naked Lunch or Mistaken Identity, and then in class we'll have a little talk about it, or you'll do a little kind of reading quiz on it to make sure that you understand the issues that are at work in those plays. So that's the first step. Then we'll start talking about using that information from the understanding of the literature to build into kind of a more focused single idea for a thesis. So we'll do a little bit of brainstorming in class, you'll do a little bit of brainstorming at home to make sure that you've got your best ideas kind of marshaled and ready to work for you. We'll do an outline for each essay so that you're thinking about which ideas you include, which ones you leave out, the order that you present those ideas in. We'll do a peer review for each essay. So peer review is when you bring in a draft of your paper and you swap it with another student in class. And the idea is that you and this other student have been part of the same class discussion, you've done the same reading, you have the same assignment, so you're in the same ballpark more or less in terms of what's expected from the essay, and then you can help each other find whatever weaknesses or strengths are in your papers and have a better paper to submit to me when you do some more work on that peer review draft and turn it in to me to grade. Even then, you're not 100% finished with your essay because I'm going to take your paper and grade it. I'm going to give you back a marked up copy with notes in the margins and also with some scores indicated on my grading rubric, so you can kind of tell from my perspective where your strengths and your weaknesses are. And for the first 3 essays, you'll have a chance to take one more shot at it and to do a revision. So as you can tell, there's kind of a long process for essay writing, but at each stage of the process, you're learning something new, you're learning something else that can make you a stronger essay writer in the future and can make your score on these individual essays even stronger. All right, so let's talk a little bit about attendance. So at Jeff State, we don't directly penalize any students for not coming to class, but there are some indirect penalties that you need to be aware of. As you can probably tell by just looking over the syllabus or by hearing me talk about the kinds of things we're going to do in class every day, it's really important that you come to class if you want to pass. The official policy says students are expected to attend classes for which they are registered. My policy is a little bit stricter than that, since every single day we do something that can earn you points towards your final grade. Occasionally in class I will give a pop quiz, and that can be a short writing assignment like a free write, or it can be a multiple choice quiz. And the thing with these quizzes is I do them right at the start of class for the first maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and there are no makeups for those quizzes that happen at the beginning of class. And they're about 10-20 points each, but if you miss several of them, that's kind of starting to eat into the total number of points you'll get at the end of the semester. And there are no makeups for these quizzes that happen at the beginning of class. So it's very much to your advantage to be in class at the beginning, right when we start, to be ready to go and to be prepared for whatever's going to happen in that class meeting. Now, in terms of late work, you'll see this on the second page of your syllabus, that late papers will be severely penalized. So here's the severity of that penalty. If you turn in an assignment after I've already taken it up in the class, but still in that same class meeting, it's going to cost you 10% of the total of your score. So I'll grade it and then I'll take off 10% because you didn't have it when I took it up for the rest of the class. If I don't get a particular assignment in that class meeting when it's due, the most I can give you for that assignment is half credit. So once again, I'll grade it, you'll get whatever score you would have gotten, and then I'll cut it in half, and that's what's going to go in my grade book. So obviously it's in your advantage to be keeping up with the schedule, to be keeping up with the class activities, and to have your work turned in on time. The summer semester in particular is very intense. We move very quickly. I don't have time to take late work, and you don't have time for me to take your work late, because I need to get it graded, I need to get it back to you so you can learn from it and apply that knowledge to your later assignments. So I do suggest that students get to know other people in their class. Once you feel comfortable with the people who are in your class, to swap email addresses or phone numbers so that if you have to miss a class meeting, you can get in touch with somebody and find out what you missed. Of course, you can always get in touch with me, but if for some reason it takes me a while to get back to you, if you have contact information for a classmate, it can help you out a lot in getting caught up with what you've missed in class. I also don't do makeup lectures. So if, for example, we have a lecture in a class meeting and you come to me the next class meeting and you say, I missed this class, what did we go over? I'm not going to give a play-by-play of what we did, but you can borrow another classmate's notes so that you can get the details of the things that we talked about in class. If you come to me and tell me you've missed a class meeting, the most I'm going to be able to do is say, well, we talked about this story and we read these pages and here's the worksheet. So you'll really need to rely on each other, on other students in the class, to get the specific material that we go over in any one class meeting. If you have to miss a class meeting, the best thing that you can do is get in touch with me as soon as you know you're not going to be there and tell me you'll be missing class. So if you are in a fender bender on the way to class and you're not going to be able to make it, as soon as you're safe, as soon as everything's under control, shoot me a quick email or give me a call on my office phone and let me know you're not going to be there. If you know you're doing traveling, if you know that you've got jury duty or something important is coming up, let me know ahead of time that you're not going to be in class, and I can be a whole lot more flexible in keeping you caught up. I might be able to make some changes in the due dates for your assignments. I might be able to give you some things ahead of time. I might be able to ask someone to take notes for you so that you miss less than you would if you just kind of weren't in class and I didn't know about it. So as soon as you know you're going to be missing class, get in touch with me. If you do miss a class meeting, especially if there's a class meeting during which an assignment is due, when you come back, I'm going to need some written excuse to tell me why missing that class meeting was out of your control. So it could be a police report if you're involved in an accident. It could be a doctor's note if you have a doctor's appointment. And if you have children, then a doctor's note from your child's physician will also work. I just need to see something kind of official that tells me that it was out of your control that you missed this class. And once I have that, I can kind of forgive the late penalty and let you turn in the work late. But your best bet is to get in touch with me as soon as you know you're going to be missing class, and then we can make sure that we're on the same page.